Good morning, Duncan Smith in the sticks. Great people. So real estate has allowed me to meet people that a dairy farmer would not have a chance to meet. So I get phone calls all the time. One of my best phone calls, this one stands out. It was a guy, and he was interested in a dairy farm that I had for sale. And man, I was a young agent, and like, dude, I was on it because that was my, it's like asking an electrician electrical question. Like, dude, we get to talk about work. We liked it. So anyway, I said, hey, call me back. I'll get you some more information. Or I think he had to call me back. Stay tuned. Anyway, so turned out we talked like next week, and he was in a mental institution, and I thought, man, what a perfect buyer for a dairy farm. I'm telling you what, dude, it takes a certain amount. If you've already crossed over into the straitjacket white zone, I mean, you're going to succeed in the dairy deal. Hold on, sip. Okay, another one, I was showing a farm, I'll never forget it. I was pulling out the gate, and I got this call, and I always take calls. The telemarketers, now it says possibly scam because they've kind of updated, but back before the Chinese got that technology into the phone where it's probably a scam call, or I don't know, then it's not really a scam call. But anyway, I got this call, and it was a guy, and he was interested in my mobile home park. And it was a lot of money to me at the time. It's still a lot of money, but this was like 5 years ago. It was $1.5 million or whatever, and it was legit. It had camper hookups, had a lot of mobiles, 37 sites, had a house, had a shed for all your equipment. Anyway, so I always like when you ask people to verify their finances, what comes out of their next and the tone that they use kind of gives me an indication if these guys can, write a check, or if they just, maybe, which I love those too, if they're just kicking tires. 10-ply, thank you. So anyway, I said, if you saw it and you liked it, could you write a check? And he said, oh, absolutely. Said, me and my partner, we do this sort of thing all the time. And it turned out he was a doctor talking to an ex-dairy farmer. Did he know? Probably not. But the real estate world allows you to touch people or talk to people that are in a whole nother world. And especially on the farm deal, like if a lot of these farms in this area, north of Mountain Grove, I've hunted, I've walked, I just know them. And, that really helps when you have a buyer in your side-by-side and you're comfortable about your crossings and, about the neighbors and just the history and just, info. And you can go overboard. A lot of times Duncan Smith needs to do this. Drive, Duncan, drive. Don't say another word. Don't do it. So I'm pretty good at reading people. Yeah, I can tell if they're entertained or just annoyed. Is there a difference? Anyway, ask around. So anyway, I just wanted to I'm going to title this one Great People. In real estate, there's no better profession that if you want to work hard to connect with people, reach out, and if you kind of know farms and land and do your very best to tell people how it is and how it's going to be and how it was, and it can all go in the fan, buddy. I mean, with a big shovel. And sometimes it's your fault, but a lot of times it's not, because there's just different personalities, different circumstances, and then you've got money. Woo, money. You get to talk about dollar bills, boys and girls. Yeah, people who've got it seem to want to make good decisions with it. Ironic, isn't it? Anywho, I just wanted to get on here and maybe be consistent in the YouTube world. And if you're thinking about real estate, it is 24/7. If if you've got a lot of listings, your sellers are counting on you to pick up that phone and make that initial contact. And it might be a flake, and it might be a real buyer. You got to sort them. And that's what that seller has hired me to do, is to sort out the cocoa flakes and the puffs. And, not saying not to give them a chance, because, everybody needs one of those. But if they can't rub two nickels together, dude, you're wasting my time. Like, it's just legit. And you need to start, if you want advice on how to, grab two nickels and start rubbing together. Now, I can help you with that, but if you think you're going to be a buyer of a property, dude, you're smoking dope. So, anywho, I do love the people. Now, I've had just a very few that deals that, I perceive the people to be mean, and apparently there are mean people out there. And I give people the benefit of the doubt until they really show their self. So and most people are just gold, and I find it very, very interesting that I've got a lot of 77 to 80-year-old sellers. And I've got a lot of 60, 70, 80-year-old buyers, and they enjoy it. They like to develop things. They like to think in the future. They like to, for whatever reason, it motivates them. So we need them all. We like it. So anywho, I am gonna get off of here. I've got. I showed a good place yesterday. Got to follow up on that. I've got a young couple coming in at 11. They're thinking about buying, their first home. I've got just different things in real estate. So I've got to unload my truck. If you can see that GMC, it looks like that Clampetts came to town. We cleaned out a cabin that we're going to put on the market. And it turns out, sweep the floor and get rid of your junk, because people don't want to screw with it. So, that's a little tip. Anyway, Duncan Smith in the Sticks. Like and subscribe and share this thing. I'm monetized, but I'm not. I got to get I've told this story. I'm an old man. I've got to get my banking information into the platform. But I'm trying to be more consistent. This is 3 days in a row. And I'm all about generational family transfer. I'm all about buying and selling and helping people do that. And to be quite honest, I am transitioning into to being a buyer in the marketplace, and they're for sale. And I don't like $100,000 deals. I like, say $20,000 to $60,000 deals, something that maybe, acquired enough cash that I can buy it, work out all the problems. And there is, every sale, there's problems. And that's usually, if you're a more novice buyer, you focus all on the problems. And I'm not saying that isn't without merit. You need to count the cost of those problems. But what about the opportunities? The access, the power, the location, just the bones, the infrastructure, different aspects of the property. And I find it's kind of funny, but like, I'll take a buyer to a piece of property, and I'll, kind of look at it, and I'll say, this deal work. You probably ought to buy it. And they're like, well, and I'm like, dude, why are you even hiring me? Because, and they'll buy something, and it's their money. I'm not saying it's not. But, and I don't know their circumstance either. But anyway, The older I get, the more fascinated I am, and the less time I've got to be fascinated. Anyway, be blessed. Like and subscribe, because it gives me hope that someone's actually viewing this. Anyway, 10 minutes, you won't get back. Duncan Smith in the Sticks, South Central Missouri, Remax Farm and Home. Call me, 417-349-5630. If you're a troll and a hater and got some agenda, and you got a lot of time on your hands, if you're in your mom's basement, slap yourself. If you are interested in talking real estate, even if you're not a buyer right now, I love to talk it, and I might be on a call, or I'll have to call you back, but I'll get it done. I do like to talk to people, and the Ozarks is a great place. If you've got left-leaning politics, it's probably a little more conservative than what you're going to be able to take. I tell folks in Mountain Grove, Missouri, there are three things. There are banks, churches, and hairstyling places. So if you want to get in debt, know Jesus, and look good doing it, you need to come to Mountain Grove, Missouri. So that's not necessarily in that order, but it's full of country, mainly farmers, generational farmers, and the farm deal is getting, like everything else, more and more specialized. But the farm folks, they're just not scared. Man, dude, they've been poor, they've been wealthy, they've been through heartache, and they get it. So, anywho, have a good day. Be blessed. Over and out.